Happy Friday from our Cool Sculpt room. Now, I picked this room for a very specific reason that I'm going to come back to in just a minute. But, we've all had a few guilty pleasures lately, and one of mine was watching a TV show called Beyond the Edge, which featured celebrities in the middle of the jungle doing different challenges to try to make money for their favorite charity. And one of those celebrities was Paulina Porizkova, who at one point was the highest paid supermodel in the world, arguably maybe one of the most beautiful women in the world. And now she was depicted as a 57-year-old in the middle of the jungle without any makeup on, doing, crawling through the mud. She's looking like she's supposed to. But the problem had been that since she's been called out, and including by one plastic surgeon who said, here's the 7 or 8 things that she needs to do to, quote, fix her face. And this is, again, the face of a previous supermodel and somebody who's still currently working. She has since retorted by saying, look, I have done a couple of things. I've done some laser work, I've done a little bit of plasma work, but for the most part, that's all I wanted to do. I'm happy in my skin, I'm happy with this, I'm happy with the choices I've made, and I don't need to do all these other things that somehow somebody else seems to think I should do. And that's the whole point. We've gotten into a culture where we're so good at picking people apart that we haven't shown any charity in the world anymore. And speaking of confidence, one of the things that's in our building, one of the placards, is a placard that says, confidence looks good on you. And that's the whole goal for a business like mine, is to be able to provide options for those people who choose to pursue them that will then help to restore confidence. It isn't necessarily just to make you look younger, or it's not to make you look, quote, better, or to, quote, fix yourself. That's really just misplaced. And so the idea of being able to do that is actually borne out by study. We know that in patients who have actually had cosmetic procedures like a facelift or a rejuvenation surgery, that patients' perception of their quality of life goes up, and we know that their self-esteem score goes up. So if we take that information back to people like Paulina, the truth of the matter is, again, whether it's now these constant things about ageism and people being too old for anything, including being a supermodel, or they're too heavy, in this fat shaming, which is why we're in this room. Yes, it sounds a little hypocritical to say that in a place of a cosmetic practice, but truthfully, when you talk to people here in this industry, you'll realize that we're on the same page as everybody else. We offer these services to people who choose to pursue them, and they aren't for everybody, nor should we ever pretend they are. But they're not for fixing anything that's wrong. They're just for actually improving somebody's quality of life if they choose to do so. And if we can keep that in mind as we move forward, whether it's about ageism, fat shaming, politics, and everything else like that, it's just time for us to show a little charity to each other. And I hope we can all start getting on board to do that too.